Thank you very much for joining us back. And of course, sport journalist Ayodele Campbell joins me on the show. And we're looking at all of these stories together. Ayodele, how you doing?
It's always great to be here, man.
Okay. All right, so let's just move straight. The big story came today. And of course, that is the GUA-led board ejected by the operatives of the DSS and out of the glass house, so to say. And Amaju Pinnick has been restored as the NFF president. Interesting one there.
Interesting one. And, well, I think it was directed from the federal government, really. I think it goes to show that, okay, they've said they want to respect what FIFA says, no intervention from the government. I think that's a good one, really, because looking at the whole thing, I mean, the GIWA thing, we're talking about the courts as in having rulings and all that. It kind of disrupts the full flow of football. Like Kojo Williams said, there's so many things to put in, there's so many things we should come together. They should come together, actually, to try to make work the leagues, the referees. There's so many things we need to do, development of our football. We can do better. We need to do more for the grassroots, from the grassroots level. So if you're talking about every time it's always about the power toss, so do you really have the best interest of Nigerian football at heart? Or is it just to get this power? We don't really understand because, like I said, last time I was here, every 4 years we go back to this. After the World Cup, we go back to this tussle. So is it that you just want the lead or you have the best interest? If FIFA says, we don't want the government, we don't want the courts, we don't want anything. This thing they're saying is there's an election has to be conducted. People have to be duly elected. Yeah. I mean, there's a process for these things. You don't go to, they said they don't want any interference from the courts, from the government. You understand? It's not criminality and all that. There's a process where 4 years after that, let an election be conducted. If GIWA wins, you come in. You don't try to toss. I mean, the power tussle just becomes, it becomes ridiculous.
But
really.
Another school of thought is that, you know, the law of the land must be respected. In the sense that, okay, the Supreme Court says, go back. I think where this whole issue is going, that there's a misinterpretation of the ruling by the Supreme Court. Okay. Because I remember vividly that it was the High Court when the GIWA-led version went to High Court. They gave a judgment. The High Court in Jos gave a judgment and said GIWA should take over. Then NFF president went to the appeal court. Appeal court, you know, was in favor of course, was in favor of NFF. Talking about Pinnick. And now GIWA had to go to Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, okay, go back. Let's reverse back and go back to what the High Court. But in that case, maybe the High Court, the Supreme Court might want, if you want, well, of course we actually need a lawyer to interpret that. I need a lawyer to interpret what that expert court order simply means. But from that, what we can see, the expert court order says after 14 days, what it simply means is that it has expired. So you need to vacate.
You need to vacate. Now, that's one way of looking at it. But right now, is there not a process? If, as an NFF president, if the board has 4 years to run, there is a process to evict them, right? You conduct an election. If Pinnick, you can, okay, you drop your candidacy, I want to contest. You go up for that. You go against Pinnick or whoever is going up. If you're elected, then it's just like saying, because after Buhari spends a particular amount of year, then the court rules and then someone else takes over. There's a process. I believe we're not barbarians. There's a process to doing things. You have to conduct elections. Whoever wins takes power, takes the mantle. I think that's just the way. So the court rulings and everything, yes, we need a lawyer to interpret that, but really it's not making sense to me. Because there is a process. The process has to be followed. And that's what FIFA is saying. There is a process. There's a process governing football. There are laws governing football. Okay. So you're talking about laws of the land, the laws of FIFA too.
Interesting one there. And that simply means that what the directive FIFA gave is that, you know, you must follow the FIFA statute. And from the federal government, that simply means that all football fraternity must go in line with what FIFA wants. Let's move on. And talking about that, another big shocker was, of course, Paul Aigbogo resigning as the technical advisor of Enyimba. Of course, he's the coach for the under-20, Nigerian under-20 team. But he's saying, okay, I'm not more interested in Enyimba. Maybe he wants to. Because the question is, why? Someone was asking me, why would this man have to resign this time? Very peculiar time for Enyimba. You know, they came fourth in the league. And of course, don't forget, they're also playing in the CAF Confederations Cup.
Well, I think not to take anything away from, we've seen it in other clients, but we don't see it that often. If you have a job, the under 20 job is a serious job, really. Not disrespect to Enyimba, trust me, or to the league and to cover, but it's a serious job. So I think you have to face one. There are other coaches that could handle the Enyimba. So if the man has looked at it and said, come, I want to give my best. The last company, we didn't qualify. So right now, I want to give my best. Because if this thing fails, it will be on him. So why have 2 games? Why kill 2 birds with one? So when you can just pull all your efforts into one and make sure the under-20 team does very well. So I think it's a very good one, really. I think I respect this decision, and I agree totally with that. You face what you have to do. You face a particular task, and make sure you see to the end, to the very best.
And of course, talking about facing a particular task, the Nigeria under-20 team, women, the Super Falconets, are already facing a particular task, and they are willing, very willing to see it to the end. But starting on a very bright note in Austria, they're winning 3-0, as a matter of fact, ahead of the World Cup in France under-20 next month, coming up next month. And it started on a very good note, beating Behem FC 3-0.
Yeah, that's it's a good preparation for them. I mean, it gives them, makes the team gel together. There's a lot more chemistry. It brings the confidence. The wins, of course, give the teams more confidence. And hopefully we can surpass the quarterfinals and semifinals and maybe win the cup. Who knows? We can do that. So it depends on how well they prepare and how determined they are, really. So it's fine.
Okay, let's move on. As it is rosy for some people, it is not rosy for that man called Mesut Ozil. As it, of course, says he's not playing for Germany anymore for racism and disrespect from Germany. And that's because of the fact that he posted a picture of him and Turkey President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. And of course, this time around, the man says, I don't want to play for Germany anymore.
It's politics now, politics into football. But then this picture was on before the World Cup. But then they came in, it was because of the bad performance of Germany as a team, not just Ozil now. And I think for the man, I think it's a good decision because it's disrespectful, really. This guy has been the German Player of the Year 5 years running, as in 5 years. It's a disrespect. This guy played a major role in Germany winning the World Cup. This guy served Germany very well. So you've had bad. I had Juliunes talking about him as in last time he played a good game was 4 years ago, and I think that's disrespectful for a seasoned international like Ozil. And I think it's taking the best decision. People don't really appreciate what they have. It's disrespect. Even though you've had a bad game or had a bad tournament or things like that, you don't disrespect the player that served you so well. Many the likes of Messi's, Ronaldo's have not been able to take the World Cup for their country. Ozil has done this. He has served Germany very well. Even when he wasn't playing too well for Arsenal, he always delivered for Germany. I think it's disrespectful, and I totally agree with this decision. I totally agree.
Okay, that is of course what Ayodele Campbell has to say about talking about Mesut Ozil. And of course, thank you very much. Can I have an
answer? Pleasure to be here.
All right. Thank you very much. The show returns tomorrow, God willing. And of course, to my production crew, Adeyemi, Adeyemo, Toby Peters, and all the camera crews. From me, Ademola Lawrence, have a very lovely night. And bye for now.